Hey, everybody. How are you? I am Dr. Torri J. I'm jumping on here just to kind of give some backstory and some scoop on my latest podcast that was released. I'm so excited about this venture. So, jumping in here, let's jump in, just jump in. I'm Dr. Torri J. I am your host for I've Got Daddy Issues, which is so exciting to be able to say. I want to jump on my screen here just so I can kind of see what's going on the page. I cannot always see, and that's just part of me wanting to know that it's up and it's properly, because this is my first live on this page. See, yep, I see it. Me wanting to know, yeah, that it's up. See, there I am echoing. So that's good to know. It is up, and we are live on I've Got Daddy Issues page for the first time. How exciting is that? That's super exciting to me. So I know there aren't going to be many people on here because I am driving people to this. My mission is to get you to come to this page. I've advertised it over the last couple of days. My goal is to get you to come to this page and see what's going on. My goal is to get you to come join me live, see what I have going on. I'm going to share this on my personal page really quickly. Let me see. I'm going to share it on my personal page. Write a post. I got to do it in my own. Got to make sure I am in Torri J mode. Okay. So shared it on my personal page. My goal is to drive people to this page to get you to see what's going on the podcast. I will share things on my personal page, but my mission is to build this audience so that you can hear the conversation that is happening. This was my first episode. This was my first taping. Let me give y'all a little tidbit. This was thrown at me 10:30 p.m. the night before. Needed to do this. So I am so grateful that Lola jumped in. Her and I had been talking about Kevin Samuels for a minute. And I want to dish on and delve into the discussion that we had about Kevin Samuels. I called it our love-hate relationship with Kevin Samuels. We truly have a love-hate relationship with him because either you love him or you hate him. In the end, you saw that. Those of you who don't know who Kevin Samuels is, who are on my pages and you kind of follow father's rights things, I need you to go check out who he is. A lot of men know who he is. I found out a lot of married women have no clue of who he is. They're like, who is that? Let's get into this. So as I talked to my friend Lola Troy, she is of Heal Black Joy. She has an amazing podcast on Instagram and YouTube called Heal Black Joy. We discussed Mr. Kevin Samuels from a different perspective. What happens when two Black women dish on Kevin Samuels? What does that look like? What does that sound like? I know we talked about it from a perspective many people were not really feeling. I had a couple of inboxes. Can I share some of my inboxes with y'all? I had a couple of inboxes. I want to share some of the inboxes with you. That's not the Kevin Samuels that I know. I actually had to keep my ears closed to him because of all of the vitriol and the hatred that he was spewing. Also, I had to cut him off. But I hope that more people find out about this Kevin Samuels versus the other one. I was going to answer her, but I didn't. That was her perspective and that was her prerogative. And so I didn't want to go too deep to try to change her mind or anything. That was not my point. So I just gave her a little heart here. And I understood. Here's the other one. Here's another one. He spoke like a grown boy with some unresolved mommy issues. A lot of people said that about Kevin Samuels. When he was on there, women were like, you got mommy issues. Like, you have no problem talking to Black women the way that you do. So let's have this conversation. I asked Lola if she felt like Kevin Samuels was someone who was holding women accountable or if he was disrespectful. She said both. We are living in a time where it can be both and, that's real. We're living in a time where it can be both and, right? And so I'm going to do this right now. I'm going to jump on. I'm going to do this. Y'all going to be like, what has she got going on? But my mission, once again, is to drive people to these platforms. So bear with me as I'm figuring these things out really quickly. Yep, that's how we're going to do it. So let's continue to talk about this. I want to give this perspective of, was Kevin Samuels, or I want to get into the conversation, was Kevin Samuels disrespectful or holding Black women accountable? Both and. As I said on the show, have been very verbal and vocal about how I feel concerning women and especially Black women. Sorry, it's giving me a tutorial for some reason. And how they connect with Black men and the things that we say and how we talk to Black men. And I've been very vocal about that. I do not play that game. I do not play that game. And I will agree with him. Some of you are so out of pocket in your approach and how you talk to men and how you believe you should share what you feel with men. I'm not that girl. I'm not that girl. I've been accused of a few things, but when it was all said and done, no, it was not disrespect. I was holding the person accountable. Here's the challenge. If you don't know the difference between accountability and disrespect, you'll always mix up the two. I feel like as a Black woman, many Black women misunderstood a lot of what Kevin Samuels was saying in the beginning. I'm being very, watch my words. They were definitely not listening in the beginning because he was holding them accountable and they saw it as disrespectful. To tell you how you handle yourself and how you carry yourself is out of pocket. Even telling you that your expectations, oh my God, I got to write that down because I don't want to get ahead of myself. I'm only on here for a few minutes. That your expectations, what he was doing when he was rating you or having you rate yourself or talking about certain situations or instances. What do you do for a living? How much money do you make? Blah, blah, blah. What is it that you want in a man? He was showing you that your expectations were not in line with your reality. And too many of you didn't like that. Too many of you did not like his approach. Now, I am not, as I said on the show, I'm not an advocate for Kevin Samuels in that way fully because I feel like he got ahead of himself. He got caught up in the clickbait. But I'm going to go to the places where I do agree with him. I agree. When you see someone holding you and keeping your feet to the fire, when when you say, this is who I am, this is how I'm supposed to be, this is what I believe I am. Okay, so let's proof up. Kevin was making you proof up. That's what he's making you do. It's almost like this place of entitlement with Black women for no reason at all, just because you're a Black woman. And then you are disrespectful. Not all, we're talking from a general perspective. When we see stereotypical Black woman, what's the picture that's being painted? The angry Black woman. It's on TV shows. It's on, and every woman does not want to be the angry Black woman because that's the stereotype. And we know that there's some truth to every single stereotype. So let's not pretend that we don't have this that comes along with us. Like, we've got to stop acting as if we aren't some of the things that he said that we are. Can we be honest? And maybe it's not you, but you saw some of the women that called in. I did. I believe that some of that was production. I said that on the podcast. I also believe some of that was real. That's scary to me. Even when he had some of the older women coming on and they didn't know what to tell the younger women when it came to how to be with a man and what to do, they had no real insight. And that was truthful. Okay? In the beginning, I will give it a message. I will say there was a message. I will give you that there was a message, and no, Black women did not like the message. The message was clean up your act. If you want what it is that you say you want, you've got to become what it is that you say you want. Like, you've got to be that person. I want somebody who makes this amount of money. Okay, how much money do you make? Oh, well, I'm on welfare. Okay, I want a man who doesn't have any kids. Okay, how many kids do you have? 4. How many baby daddies? 3. Do you guys see how crazy this sounds? And some of this was not production. Some of this was real life and real time, validating what this man was saying. I will even say yes, I'll give a stamp of approval in the sense of, if you have 4 children with 3 baby daddies, you need to be careful. The standard or the expectation you have when it comes to who should be in your life, or who's the appropriate mate. Maybe that's a better statement. Be careful of your entitlement in that space. 4 children, 3 baby daddies, and you think that you deserve the pick of the litter? Y'all, this is tough. And then we get mad at him. We get angry with him through this process. And I think that only fueled him. So let me go into what I said, even more so in some of the points we didn't get to make because we were crunched for time. We got started a little late. See, this is what you're going to get on after the show. And if people jump on and they want to join in the conversation, I'm going to pop people in on this particular thing. So I want y'all to tell people about after the show, because you've got to watch the podcast to be able to talk about the podcast. Okay. So, Kevin Samuels, you got to realize, when people were saying he had unresolved mommy issues, they weren't lying. It was very apparent. It was very obvious that he was fatherless to me. I can pick it out. Like, you could be walking down the street. I can pick it out. Don't talk to me because I'm really going to pick it out. Your fatherlessness has an ability to wear it's like a coat or a cloak. And when you begin to speak, you can hear it. There are times when I'm speaking and people know I got mommy issues because I'm just on here talking. I'm like, I ain't trying to clean it up. And they're like, oh, she sound heavy today. Yes, because I got mommy issues. Kevin Samuels had both. And there were some things that I learned when I did a tour in 2019. I learned that those who had daddy issues also had mommy issues. It goes into the fact that they were attracted to each other for a reason. Your mama wasn't swindled out of her drawers. Your mama wasn't coerced out of that. She liked that man for a reason. Maybe it was trauma bonding. Maybe it was toxicity. Maybe your daddy was the healthy one and your mama was the unhealthy one. Maybe vice versa. We don't know. And I'm not here to speculate on all that. But we can't act like if our dads are like these creatures that are just like, oh my God, he just isn't. They were attracted to each other for some reason. People always say, oh, well, he spin it and y'all spin it too. Oh, well, he sent the representative. You sent one too. I'm not the girl to play that game. When I look at Kevin Samuels and I began to dig into his background, as I said on the show, this man doesn't even have a basic Wikipedia page to tell us his roots, the day he was born, early family history, mom and dad stuff. You have to glean it through different articles on social media. Through gleaning it, you really learn that he came from a divorce household. He was born in Atlanta, came from a divorce household, and there's a lot of speculation in between that. And then we learn that he's been married 2 or 3 times. He's got some, issues with his children. I go back to, and it's something that I posted on the foundation that I run. I posted it on our Facebook page today, how an unhealed father wound impacts you, your partner, and your children. This is what we have to understand. I do believe there was an aspect of Kevin Samuels that had a positive message, but I also believe after getting the attention, after getting all of the clicks and all of the likes and realizing who his audience was, we're going to get into the audience in a moment, realizing who his audience was, he got caught up. He totally got caught up. He got caught up in the mix. And in getting caught up in that mix, he began to say things that were divisive, demonically influenced. I will go there. How he died is not a coincidence nor an accident. You have to live what it is you're talking about. And so you have to be very careful when you put a brand out, what that looks like, because the very thing that you begin to talk against is the very thing that will be your demise. And he talked about how you need to be fit friendly, cooperative, and submissive. And then we learn that the woman that he's with is not fit, maybe friendly, maybe cooperative. We don't even know she was submissive because she was from the night before. Cinco de Mayo must have had them like kicking it on a whole nother level. However, she seemed to be the complete opposite of what he talked about. Now, her ethnicity, no, not so much. I believe he definitely demonized Black women. Although, ladies, we have a reputation that precedes us. If we could admit that, Black girl magic is cool and Black empowerment and all of that is great. But when you are not holding your girlfriends accountable, when you are the person sitting there talking about, oh, yeah, girl, take him to child support, girl. Oh, girl, yeah, keep his children away from him. Oh, yeah. And then talk to men like they're trash. We got problems. I've been on coaching calls where we've had all women and all men on the call, or then we come together as couples. And I will say it. I had a real hard time getting on the women's call because it seemed like every single time we got on the call, women would be talking about the conversation they had with their husbands. And the coaches would have to tell them, you can't talk to him like that. And I just got tired of hearing it because I had one moment like that in my marriage where I talked to my husband crazy. And I'll be honest, I thought he was outside the door and then he heard me. And then I was bold enough to repeat it. And that wasn't right, because it ain't my job to break down a man, Black, white, or indifferent or whatever. It's not my job. He is my brother, and it's not my place to break him down with my mouth. Do I convey how I'm feeling about things? Yes. Do I express my feelings and where I stand on situations? Yes. I'm not a mute. Don't get it twisted. There's just a way that you have to talk to men. And that way didn't work necessarily either for me, because there are situations and circumstances where accountability looks like disrespect, especially when you got female mechanisms. You don't want to ever be told that you're doing something wrong. You don't ever want to be told that what you've done is hurting someone's feelings. And ladies, we have to own that. We have to own the truth that we have done some destructive things, behaviors, patterns, whatsoever in our relationships that have harmed our men. This is why they became the audience for Kevin Samuels. This is why. Kevin was saying the things that they wanted to say. Someone was finally saying it. The problem is Kevin was saying it to Black women in general, but too many of them need to say it to their mothers as well. I can tell you from my coaching group, the first Black woman that ever disrespected, betrayed the brothers and the white men, both in my coaching groups, and made them want to retaliate, get back, and avenge was their mother. I did a poll one day and we were just talking, and I did a poll, and every man in the room said, my mother, my mom, dang, my mommy, dang. Like it just went around, and it was just like, oh my God. Everybody started realizing that it wasn't the woman or the girlfriend that they dated, it was their mother. Got to recognize that so many of the men who call Kevin Samuels their guru, their godfather, their all in all, right? Their king. It's like, what in the world? It was because he gave them a voice. They had felt voiceless. They had felt silenced. They felt silenced by their women. I guess, ladies, it becomes, what does that look like? When we are dating men who have unhealed father trauma and wounds, and we ourselves also have that trauma and wound that we have not healed, we are finding ourselves in divisive and combative situations. We're finding ourselves in relationships that are not going to work because neither party has started doing the work of healing. I will tell you that the voice that we talk about on the show, how Kevin Samuels give men a voice. I need women to recognize one of the reasons you were so agitated by hearing that side of men is because you've never heard it before. You've never heard your father's voice in that way. And even when he did try to come back and talk to you about what your mother did, you didn't want to hear it. You're making excuses. I heard a lot of that when Kevin Samuels would talk about the relationships between Black men and Black women. And you guys would say, that's an excuse. That's this, and you would always deflect. What if it's not an excuse, but it's a good reason? We have to ask ourselves some questions. Are we difficult? Challenging is one thing. To challenge a man to be better is one thing. Being difficult is another thing. Are we difficult? Have we been difficult? Own it if you have been. Correct it. Have you been more masculine in the situation than your man? We were raised to be masculine. I'm very feminine unless you push me into that direction. I got pushed in that direction a lot. I got pushed in that direction a lot. Having to make decisions, having to do what we got to do. Men, you can't be mad at us when we step into our masculine energy, when you don't rise to the occasion, when you don't step into the situation and truly be protector and provider and have some emotional intelligence, as I talked about. I don't need you to make $1 million a year. I don't need that. That's nice. But if you're going to be a jerk, I don't care. That doesn't mean anything to me. For me, it's about connection. It's about how do I connect? Do we have not just chemistry? Do we have a connection? That connection means there are things that we can do together in the earth. I'm a believer to push the kingdom of God forward in the way that it's supposed to be. I'm put here for a purpose. Right now, this is the purpose. My mission is to constantly show you how your daddy issues are messing up your relationships, how your daddy issues are not only messing up your romantic relationships, but your business relationships and your friendships. Not being able to be held accountable, not being able to hear a man's voice and know where he's coming from. Now, men, I also know the situation. Tokyo, no. My dog is doing something, y'all. I know the situation where, yeah, I'm sorry, I had to do that. I know the situation where, you can't overshadow somebody else's feelings when they're talking to you and then tell them your feelings and then say, oh, see, you don't care about my feelings. No, you just disrespected my feelings as I got the courage to come and talk to you. I got the gumption to come and tell you what is going on, how I'm feeling. And then instead of you listening to how I'm feeling, then you interject your feelings. That's disrespect. And too many of you do that. You know why? Because you haven't been heard. I'm open to listening when you approach me about your stuff. Or if we can have a conversation where my feelings are being validated and I can validate your feelings. But you can't null and void my stuff and then expect me to care about yours. That's not gonna work for me. Those are narcissistic patterns and behaviors that I just can't get with. Kevin Samuels was teaching y'all some of this, and it goes back to a conversation that Lola brought up. He never told you he was a relationship expert. He told you he was an image consultant, and it's one of the reasons he focused on the image, and he based it on the standards of society as well as what women say they want. And so when you say that these are the things you want and then you get it, what does that actually look like for you? I need for you to understand how much money someone has. Can I pull the message apart? How much money someone has doesn't mean they're going to be a good person. It doesn't mean they're going to be a good spouse. It doesn't mean that they're going to make a relationship work. It doesn't mean they're going to be faithful. Are you willing to trade finances? Because it's not financial stability. You can be stable without all of that money. Some of you are saying you need. Are you going to trade because you want all this money? You're going to trade your mental health for that? You're going to be willing to be disrespected for that? So I want all the money. I want the bags. I want you to buy me the Birkin. I want you to buy me the Gucci and the Louis. And I'll settle for being disrespected. I promise you I'm not. Ladies, this is the message. Let's pull the message apart. The reason it was about all of those other things is because those are the things you say you want. Those are the things that you put out there and you put into the atmosphere and you tell men this is what they have to do for you. I like those things. Where I live is the most important part. Where I lay my head, can I find peace? Can I find rest? Do I feel proud to walk into my home? That's what's important to me. So I want you guys to understand that I've Got Daddy Issues is intended to really connect the dots, to your fatherless pain and journey and help you heal from it. I want to give you insight and windows into some of the stuff that you see in pop culture, some of the things that you recognize in pop culture, and you go, wait a minute, that's fatherlessness? I want you to see it. I see it all day, but you guys just hear these stories and you think it's nothing to it. It's like, oh, okay, well, that's just something that happened. No, a lot of this is rooted in fatherlessness, and the foundation of it comes from fatherless pain and a father wound that has not been healed. Kevin Samuels had a father wound that hadn't been healed. It's one of the reasons you heard so much pain. It's one of the reasons you very rarely heard him talking about himself. When women would call in and say, well, tell me about you. This ain't about me. Click. You would cut him off. He's not comfortable. But he gave men a voice. And if anything, I'm happy about him giving men a voice, but I'm not happy about some of the men who have cherry-picked the message in order to destroy the hope that Black women have for relationships and solid relationships. He had a message. I think some of you cherry-picked it, male and female. And I do believe at the end, I'm going to say his last infamous words, a woman over 35, might have been a single mom. I'm not even sure with all the stuff out there. She's a leftover woman. Got a question. Did that bother us as women because we kind of know that's true, that we're out here competing with 20-something-year-olds? Or did we just not like it because he said that and we couldn't believe he said that? I've heard some 35 plus women talking. Your talk is not good. Not all of you. I like to hang out with mature women, but there's a lot of pain in the conversation because we haven't done the healing. We can't talk about father wound. We haven't even done the healing from the last dude. We haven't even done the healing from the last dude. Your glow up is not apparent. See, my glow up is apparent. It's apparent. Doing the work. You haven't even done the work, but yet you want the prize and the benefits of a relationship. I want to ask you this question. If you're not comfortable hearing a man's voice, meaning what men have to say, are you ready to have a man in your life who has emotions and feelings and trauma and things that he's bringing to the table? Because he's got to speak at some point. So are you in a position, if you're this uncomfortable with a man's voice, because a man's going to tell you to be quiet and shut up sometimes. He's going to tell you, oh yeah, that's another episode coming. What that look like, Cam? Cam Newton, what that look like? She can't cook and she don't know when to shut up. Sometimes your man got to give you that look from across the room. Y'all know that to be true. Don't play the game. Y'all don't like that kind of rooted in patriarch. Is it? Or we can just sometimes just be out of pocket, just like they can. Sometimes you got to give your man a look and be like, you're going too far, sir. There's something about when a man looks at you, when your daddy looks at you. Something about it. So if you're not ready to hear a man's voice in this way, candid, cutthroat, Kevin was telling y'all what men want. In the meantime, in between time, he was pretty damn disrespectful. There's no question about it. But there was places where you could actually eat the meat and spit out the bones. And many of you refuse to even eat the meat. So I just want to have that conversation with you and tell you what I was thinking, even when Lola was talking about this stuff. And I didn't know that he talked to men and told them being a high value man is taking care of your household and being kind to your wife and do it. Whew. Many of you didn't hear that message either because you were so busy, caught up in the other things that you saw. Kevin used clickbait very well. He did. He used it very well. But I want to say he also used it in the wrong way that became very divisive. I pray that my sisters through this journey find the place of accountability, but also heal from some of the things he said in the end. The things he said in the end is what brought about his demise. I will not tell you what I told some of my friends weeks before he died, but it's crazy. It's absolutely insane. So I want you guys to do the work. I want you to do the work. I want you to look in the mirror and say, as women, if I'm not comfortable with hearing a man's voice, am I really ready for one? If I'm not willing to hear how men feel about our relationship and how we interact, are you really ready for one? Maybe that's why you're not drawing any. You're drawing, but you didn't say he immature and he a little boy and he this and he that. Maybe that's why. And then men, all women, all Black women aren't bad. We've been hurt just like you've been hurt. We come from the same trauma, and we have to find a common ground if we're going to continue to move forward together. I'm going to end it there. I'm only on here for 30 minutes. We're going to continue to build this. But I am Dr. Torri J. I am your host for I've Got Daddy Issues. And I can't wait for you to see the next episode that's coming on Thursday. We bring up a topic that I don't know if people are ready for. We finally talk about Will and Jada. We do get down with that. We were supposed to have a male's voice in it. It didn't happen. We had 2 women on there. My girl Lola Troy of Heal Black Joy joins me again. And then I have Dr. Alicia Rohr, who comes and she does Rohr psychology and clinical services. And when I tell you that conversation, we had to cut it off. That conversation got into so many amazing dynamics and tools for you to use to help grow from the dysfunction, the toxicity, and all the things that you've been raised in. And when we say raised, I'm now looking at it as you've been groomed in these situations. You've been groomed. And so I can't wait for that. You're going to see the promo reel later on tonight, tomorrow. You're going to start seeing that coming. We're bringing these, they coming out at you. They coming at you. So, all right, I will talk to you guys later. I'm Dr. Torri J, and I'm your host of I've Got Daddy Issues. Thank you for joining me for After the Show.